Pete, hop in here.
Morning, D. Excited about this show today, as obviously in the title, talking about Samorain Wingo, potentially pulling off a late surprise here. And he's a name that we've gotten a lot of questions about over the past really couple months. And Miami was around, but it didn't necessarily seem like all the eggs were in that basket. And it seemed like they were kind of really focused elsewhere. But we were wondering out loud in the recent weeks. You understand Tristan Keys is their top priority at wide receiver, number one wide receiver in the country. But you know that's going to be a tough recruitment, so you can't really rely on that one. And then seeing how the Jason Lopez thing went, understanding there were a lot of dynamics at play there, being happy with the pickup of Vance Spafford, the flip from Georgia, liking the upside of a Tyron Evans, but still saying, all right, if you don't land Tristan Keys, what are you really doing at the wide receiver spot? And I think this move, if it happens, right, nothing's confirmed yet. He hasn't made any sort of announcement, but things tend to look to be trending in Miami's direction here, right, by all accounts in the last 24 hours. I think that's a good sign in terms of what the wide receiver recruiting looks like, as this is a top 150, top 175 player in the country. I'll pull up his tape here in a second, but it feels like Miami said, you know what, we got to take something. We got to take something. We can't continue losing battles out there.
Yeah, well, it's the Denzel Washington meme I was talking about. They're going to leave here with something, and this would hopefully be a top 200 player in the country. Real quick, shout out to Alec Baldor watching Big Pete from the hospital, waiting for our next commit to be born. Shout out to Alec, baby Baldor, and Mama in the hospital there as they wait for that one. So yeah, man. When it comes to Samorain Wingo, I think Miami. Here's the big. Well, I'll get to the big picture in recruiting in a second, but just focusing on Wingo. He's someone Miami had in their camp last year, liked what they saw. They had been recruiting him. He visited. I talked to him after his visit. Strong kid, good size. And, Miami's liked Samorain Wingo. Obviously, they've been in that kind of Calvin Russell sweepstakes, big local player that you don't necessarily want to squeeze out. However, there's a lot of love in the building for Samorain Wingo, and I think once the dust settled a little bit and they had a clear lane at Wingo, they said, let's go get him. Let's go get this player. We want him. And here you see this against American Heritage. So Pete, I know the question you have, and really I have too, is the twitchiness and speed, but that's American Heritage, and that's a long touchdown run. So that's, I was talking to some coaches about Wingo yesterday, and this play was brought up, that American Heritage play. Like, hey, you're worried about how he can run. Watch him here. He's got great competition. What I like about Wingo, as we look through the film, first of all, good size. I mean, he's legitimate, 6 foot strong. What I like about him, there's really two markers. There's 3 markers. Let's say 4. I'm going down the line that I've typically talked about with receivers on other shows is, first of all, do they have play strength? Because play strength is underrated with receivers. We've seen Lance Leggett. We've seen, to a lesser extent, Stacy Coley, guys who didn't reach their full potential because they just didn't have the strength. And I think strength, when you look at NFL receivers, the guys that make it, they have some strength to them. They don't have to be giant DK Metcalf. They got to have some core wiry strength. And I think this guy's got that. Number 2, route running. He's got nice releases, as you see right there. Number 3, are they productive? Production is not always like lining up exactly with how they play. A lot of times you have guys that are productive that aren't good players from high school to college, and guys that maybe aren't as productive in high school like other guys, but just have better traits. Wide receivers, one of those positions where productive is very predictive. When you go and look at do these studies of guys that make it, 1,000+ yard receiver with good competition. So that's a check for Wingo. And then the last one to me that is a big time check with Wingo is his basketball background. This guy's 16.6 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3.1 steals, 2.5 assists. So this is not just a guy that plays for fun. This is a productive player. Actually, Pete, while you're working there, pull up his basketball highlights. Actually, I'll find it because I was watching him yesterday. I know which one to get. So let me pull up his basketball highlights here. Which that's it's CanesInSight when we're pulling up the basketball highlights. That's just a guy to do it. But this is a talented guy. He had a game with 7 3-pointers. He's a productive basketball player. So that's just something to keep an eye on with him. And that's that's nice to see a guy that can not just play but really produce.
I like the size. Brandon's asking if we offer basketball. I don't think that. No, I don't think he's playing basketball in college. But when I talk about size, it's not the height. It's just like the weight he has on him already, and he looks like the body type that can carry a bit more. Obviously, the speed is what we're talking about, the long speed, but not every receiver needs to be that guy. I think that he reminds me, as I told you before the show, a bit of a former Cane. And when I say his name, Canes fans may be like, well, that doesn't make me super excited. But a Rashawn Scott, who was a productive player at Miami, a 6'1", 200+ pound receiver who wasn't afraid to go across the middle, had some injury stuff at Miami, but he was a guy who was on, in the NFL for a few years, on practice squads, in and off of active lists. So not every player is going to be and I'm not trying to limit what this guy could be, but I think this is at the very baseline, a very, very solid player down the line for you at the wide receiver position, who may not be a game breaker, but can be an extremely productive player at the next level.
Yeah, and this is a comparison that I've used before for Dalen Upshaw, but like he's in that Dalen Upshaw, Allen Hurns kind of family to me, just in terms of the strength, the play strength, the good routes, the size, just rock solid. I know somebody, so just some more on his background for those who's a new name, because we haven't talked about him a ton. Listed at 6'2", 180. I'd say he's probably closer to 6'1", but he's definitely over 6 foot. 180 seems accurate. He is the number 24 receiver in the composite. He's one of those guys that's pretty consistent among recruiting services. Everybody has him in that kind of 20 to 24 range for receivers. Mid 4-star player, 160th ranked recruit in the country. So there's a real prospect. It's not like a sleeper. He visited South Carolina. He visited Florida, visited Miami. I believe he may have also visited Alabama. I know Alabama was in there. So this was a recruit that was highly recruited. Florida had been the favorite for a long time before Miami made this last surge here. So this is, it's not like a sleeper necessarily, but the reason I think Miami really has been Calvin Russell situation, working through, the Jason Lopez Van Spat, for doing a lot of things. So I think when the dust settled a little bit and it was just a clearer runway with Wingo, it's like, can this guy help us win championships? And absolutely can. So, let's go get him. And then you put the brakes on. It's a little different, when it comes to it's kind of like free agency, man. It's like, it's just different than recruiting used to be. Are they worth an offer? If so, get them. And clearly this guy's worth an offer, but now in the NIL kind of era, that process is just a little more dynamic. And you got local situations, you got out of state situations, it's the timing. There's a lot that goes into it, but I mean, I think ultimately this is a guy that they had in camp that they really, really liked. That and I'm going to get to this question, TJ, in the ATM, not quite the bank yet, but I'll get to that question that you just asked about Tristan Keys. But I think with Wingo, like I said, guy that checks a lot of boxes, a highly rated player. This guy's going to have Miami's class going up in the rankings. He's not a sleeper. A guy that big schools are after, has a lot of traits that people like, as I pull up the basketball, because, we got to do this. But
it's funny. I just looked up Rashawn Scott's stats to make sure I wasn't going to completely, disrespect this kid. And Rashawn Scott had 2 seasons over 500 yards, sandwiched within a year where he was hurt and only played 2 games. And that last year had 700 yards, 5 touchdowns. Remember that play against Jalen Ramsey? He made against Florida State.
He killed that game.
Yeah, he was a good player at Miami. If not for the injuries, I think he would have been thought of, a lot higher by Canes fans.
And
it was just not a great era.
Yeah, and he played in the and I want to say he played in the NFL. Like he had like a
he did. He played as he was with the Dolphins. Yeah, he was active with the Dolphins, here and there, but he was on practice squad making 6 figures a year at least. So
let's see his basketball here, Pete. Size up his game. Nice little shot.
Good looking shot. Yeah, doesn't look too herky jerky.
Finds the space.
Looks good, man. Looks good. Yeah, good set shot.
This guy's a real basketball player. I mean, he averaged almost 17 points, and he's playing real competition. That's another thing about this guy. One thing about Rashawn Scott is that he came from kind of weak competition and dominated. This guy was productive against real teams. I like his body type too. I mean, you look at him; he's a sturdy guy. I mean, just look at his shoulders. This is not a guy that is going to be knocked around by receivers, which I think is another reason why he's been productive against good competition. He just has that play strength.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions here, D, kind of about what this means for the rest of the receiver class. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to wait. You're going to wait for that now in the
we'll
ATM.
Get there. We'll get there. A question here from, let's see. I had a question here. There you go. I'm going to get to another basketball highlight too, because I can't get enough. Heart of Sports saying, if I was Wingo, I wouldn't commit to Miami. He wants to be an obviously backup plan. It's not a backup plan. I think it's really, to me, more about the modern recruiting era. And this is going to sound like just like political talk, but I'm trying to say, like,
state media, baby. Here he is.
There's a lot of stuff that you have to balance in the NIL era, particularly when it comes to like local recruits, just timing. There's a lot of moving pieces. So if this was like I remember back in the day, it used to be like you'd get like a backup plan, hey, this guy doesn't come, we're going to offer this kid, right? And if not, he's not worth an offer. That's a backup plan. This guy was an offer all day. They would have taken him in 2 seconds. It's more about just certain timing things, certain budgetary things, certain things that need to kind of line up. There's in the NIL era, one word that you hear me use a lot is timing. Timing is very, very important for a lot of reasons. There's just so many moving parts. Things have to kind of align sometimes. And I think with Wingo, the timing has made sense. There's a clear runway to the player, and they want to get this player. So it's, hey, let's go get him. But you see the schools that are after him. I mean, South Carolina, Florida, Alabama, these schools are look at that pass. See that pass, Pete?
No, I didn't. Sorry. I was going to reply in the chat.
Yeah. Check out this pass right here. Okay, so here we go. There's the 3. We know he's got the shot. Look at this one right here. I know you're going to like this one, Pete. Here we go. Look at the overall skill set here. Taking the ball up. Boom, no look. It's a nice pass.
Nice. It's nice. Is he playing quarterback or receiver?
Hey, listen, it's called being an athlete. Brandon says, I live up here. The competition is good. Look at the block. I'm telling you, man, we watch all these basketball highlights. This guy's one of the better basketball players we've seen.
Yeah, he really is. No, he really is. I like his composure out there too. Yeah, no, he's playing the game at his own pace. A lot of these football players, because they're the best athletes on the floor, they're going 100 miles an hour and not really playing at their speed. He's, as they say, let the game come to you. Like, he's not trying to force the issue. These are clips, but it seems like his demeanor out there is he's a real basketball player. He's not just trying to be a brute bully out there.
Steals. So some questions about Calvin Russell and how he compares, which is interesting. So Calvin Russell, I would say, has more spring. If I'm comparing Calvin Russell to Wingo, the one advantage that Russell's going to have, I mean, he's taller, but I think the real advantage Russell has is he's got at 6'5", he's got that spring. Whereas Wingo, the question with him is going to be, the twitchiness, the explosiveness. Although, again, when I asked about that, I was referred to that American Heritage play where he scored a very long touchdown against a lot of Division I corners. Look at that move, dude. That's real basketball right there, Pete. That's real hoops. This guy's got moves. But I think Russell, when you watch him on the basketball court, he's 6'5", he's springy, he's getting every single rebound. He's kind of a raw player. Whereas this guy, his basketball game is kind of like his football game. He knows how to run routes. I watch all his film, watch his junior, sophomore. This guy can run routes, a variety of routes. He catches the ball with his hands. He knows how to run after the catch. He's very composed, just like like you said, he is on the basketball court, Pete. He's like that. Another nice pass, man. This guy's balling. The way he plays basketball is the way he plays football. Calvin Russell, the way he plays basketball, springy, athletic, rebounds, good effort, good size. That's how he plays football. So just kind of different kinds of players. But I think this is a guy that Miami was very, very excited to be in the mix for this late. And we said it's like the Denzel Washington meme. It's we're going to leave here with something, and hopefully they can leave here with the Wingo. TJ Preble saying a top 5 player, 6'3" wide receiver. Everyone should be hyped about a guy like this. I don't think he's 6'3", but yes, he is a highly rated player.
Brandon,
yeah. Go ahead. No, I'm going to give you props first. Raising Cane saying, I see how Pete's still getting in condition wise for that DT number 5.
Yeah, man. Let's keep it going. I'm trying my best. Brandon says he wants him on the basketball team. Listen, I'll ask about him. I'll be at the facility today. I have interviews with Trey Donaldson, Malik, and Ernest Uday. So I'll see if he's on their radar. But I don't think so. I don't think there's been any talk of him being a basketball guy as well.
Yeah, I haven't heard that as either. That's more on the football side. That's just kind of, I think that when they talk about basketball, it's more about just the fact that this guy's a good player, right? He's someone that speaks to his athletic ability. Peony Boys, appreciate you. Says, let's set up a 3-on-3. Who's in it? Me, Pete, and somebody else? Or is it going to be Russell Wingo and someone else? Get Jason Lopez out there.
Get Jason Lopez out there.
Let's see what's going on. Tristan Keys plays in basketball too. Rob's saying basketball recruiting on another level. Yeah, Pete's going to have all that covered. You're not going to have a better insider on the basketball team than Pete, and he's going to do some private interviews.
Trenton. I would say throw Trenton. Yeah.
Definitely throw Trenton in the mix. Question from 26 asking, how does Wingo compare to like a Chance Robinson? I would say they're both good-sized players, like strong, over 6 foot, body, college ready. I'd say Chance Robinson is like in that plus category. Like I'd say, Wingo solid size, very solid size. Robinson, I'd say, is plus sized. And I don't mean that like plus size, like you're talking about a girl, plus size, meaning like his attribute of physical strength is above average. So I would say that. I'd say Wingo's probably maybe a little more athletic, at least from what I've seen. But I've seen Chance play more. So, he's just got to see him play. He's asked that a lot. Now I want to see him on the field playing because I liked his comment. I liked what he did on the clips. Michael Quinones saying DP to Mike versus the comment sections, the 3-on-3 he was talking about.
Mike's gonna have to be the rim protector.
Yeah, he's the most experienced in that one. Dizzy Dean, good wide receiver if we add Wingo and Lopez. We'll see on Lopez. That one, who knows? I think right now, if you can add Wingo and you're talking about Wingo, Evans, and Spafford, I think that you've added some really good players, but I don't think that's going to preclude you from continuing to pursue wide receivers. And I'm going to get into that in a second. Let's see. Full-time photography. You really know how to encourage a player to come to Miami if you might be the hidden gem. Players listening to y'all, players never come. Y'all don't sound enthusiastic about this player. I'm fired up about this guy. I think this is a guy that has all the attributes I like, which is core strength, route running, production, and the basketball. When those are receivers, those are the attributes that it's not just a Wingo thing. You've heard me on other shows. Those are the things I kind of keep coming to when it comes to wide receivers. Those tend to translate to success at that particular position. And I think Wingo's got a whole lot of that.
I just compared him to one of the more productive receivers in recent Miami history in the last 10 years. I'm excited about him too. Listen, guys, there's a lot of commitments. We also can't sit up here and claim that every player is the greatest recruit in the world just to hype people up. So there's a balance that, we're just trying to tell it how we think it is, or how we think we see it, or what people around the building are saying. So I think we both spoke very highly of this guy, mentioning how he's a top 150, 175 player. I mean, we're excited. It's just, we're not saying he's Randy Moss either.
Yeah, look, you got to see what they have when they get on campus. I mean, I think the comp I had for him, again, I put him in that same bucket as Dalen Upshaw, who was one of my favorite recruits last year. I was kind of driving that bandwagon. And then Alan Hearns, who we saw 1,000-yard receiver in the NFL, very productive receiver at the University of Miami. I think he also had a 1,000-yard season at the University of Miami. So I put him in that bucket. It's going to be about work. And if he can be one of those type of guys, well, certainly if he could be like Hearns, that's a pretty great career.